All right, now we will be going through 7.3 homework, starting on page 28. Again, make sure you get these in your notes. First question, two lines intersect. Find the value of B and C. Pretty self-explanatory there. As long as we remember what vertical angles are, this one should be pretty easy. Ones across from each other have to be equal, so B is 42 degrees. And now again, if we just eliminate and look at two of them, they all make straight angles, so these have to equal 180, these have to equal 180, and so on. So 42 plus what is 180? And that would of course be 138 degrees. If you can't see that, you just have to take 180 minus 42. And the same would be true for this one as well. All of them have to add up to 360. Number two, in this figure, R and S are complementary. So a little note there, that means it has to add up to 90. Find a measure of angle S. So I have 62. 62 plus what is 90? Again, complementary. So 90 minus 62. And you should end up with 28 degrees. 28 degrees. Number three, two angles are both vertical and supplementary. Can we determine the angles? So vertical means they're across from each other. Supplementary means they add up to 180. Can we determine the angles? Well, if they are vertical and add up to 180, the only way to do that would be to have 90-degree angles. So yes, it is possible, vertical and supplementary. Is it possible to be both vertical and complementary? That means be across from each other and add up to 90 degrees. So again, the first one there, I just like to draw the visual there. Can you have vertical and complementary? Yeah, vertical and complementary means if they are across from each other and complementary, they would have to be adding up to 90. So there's a rough drawing. So if this is 45, that would have to be 45, again, across from each other, vertical and complementary, add up to 90. So can you determine the angles? Yes. Explain how you know. I just made two visuals there. So the key there is to just know that vertical means across from each other, supplementary means they have to add up to 180. So two angles that are the same that add up to 180. Vertical again means across from each other, supplementary means add up to 90. So those are basically your two choices and your two answers there. Anytime you can make a visual display, I would recommend it. Question number 4, match each expression. So A through E's got to match with 1 through 5. So let's just see if we can eliminate any first. How about this one? 99 plus 44. Do you see anything I could distribute to give me 99x and a 44? That would be number 3. 11 times 9x and 11 times 4. So that one is done. I notice a 2.06 here, and I notice a 2.06 here. That might be an easy one to eliminate. Looks like the only difference is between, instead of a minus, it's adding a negative, which we should remember is the same thing. So those two just connect with each other. Let's look at the top one. Let's distribute the 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 1 is 5. I'll leave the minus 2x plus 11 and I'll combine like terms. 5x minus 2x would be 3x. Positive 5 and a positive 11 would be positive 16. So that would go with number 4. Next one, 2x plus x would be 3x. 2 plus 5 is 7. I do not see a 3x plus 7 here, but I would take note that if I take half of 6x, what do I get? And if I take half of 14, what do I get? So that is number 2. And the last one, we might as well check it. Combine your x's, I got negative 3 and a positive 5 So 5 minus 3 is 2 or 1/4 x, which we already know it's going to be this one. Negative 9 plus 1 is negative 8. Problem number 5. Factor each expression. That means what do they have in common? What can I take out of them? 15 and 13. 13 is prime, so I can't take anything out of that besides 1 and 13. 13 definitely doesn't go into 15, so I'm going to take out an a. So if I take out an a out of both sides, what do I got left? I have 15. Take an a out of here, I have 13, and there's a negative sign in between. Okay, b. What can I take out? So I have a negative 6 and I have a negative 18. So I would accept if you took a positive 6 out, but I'm going to try taking a negative 6 out. Cannot take out a variable. One has an x, one has a y. They are not the same. They are not like terms. So if I take a negative 6 out, negative 6 times what would give me negative 6x. And that would simply be a positive x. Most of the time you want the x term to be positive. That's why I decided to take a negative 6 out. And x could not be negative here because you remember two negatives would have made it a positive. And I see the negative sign there. Negative 6 times what would give me negative 18y. So negative 6 times what would give me negative 18 first. And it would be a positive 3. Negative 6 times 3 is negative 18. And again, if you put a negative here, that would have changed the sign of my original problem. And then I have a y there. Problem C. 36 and 54. What is the biggest factor I can take out of 36 and 54? It's going to be a 9. Look at the variables. Is there anything they have in common? I can take out an a. They both do not have a b, c, or d, so I cannot take that out. So taking out a 9a. So 9 times what would give me 36? 4. And what variables am I missing? I already have an a, so I'm missing the b and the c. 9 times what would give me 54? 6. And what variable am I missing here? I already have an a, so it would be d. Problem 6. The directors of a dance show expect many students to participate, but they don't know how many students will come. The directors need 7 students to work on the technical crew. The rest of the students work on dance routines in groups of 9. For the show to work, they need at least 6 full groups working on dance routines. So write and solve an inequality. So I'm going to have an inequality symbol here. And graph on a number line. Okay, so however many students I have no idea, so I'm going to put x because it's unknown. I'm going to take 7 off the top to work on the crew. So how do I show taking 7 students out of x? And I'm just going to write a minus 7. Okay, then I'm going to divide everybody else. I'm going to divide what's left into groups of 9. So I'm going to divide by 9. And here's the key for the symbol. At least. What symbol would be at least? Be greater than or equal to. That means more than 6 groups. 6 would be fine, but I want at least 6 or more. So there would be my equation. So now I'm going to solve it. Again, I want to leave the variable alone. It looks like I'm dividing by 9. What's the opposite of dividing by 9? Times 9 on both sides. Times 9. Times 9 and divided by 9 is going to cancel, and I got x minus 7 is greater than or equal to whatever 6 times 9 is. 54. And now I see a minus 7. What is the opposite of a minus 7? I'm going to add 7. So I'm left with x is greater than or equal to 54 plus 7. And that is 61. Graph it. Sorry, I've kind of ran out of room there. Greater than or equal to means it includes 61, so it is a filled-in circle. Greater than is everything this direction. So I'm shading to the right. Write a sentence to the directors about the number of students they need. Okay, the directors need at least how many people? Okay, 61 students to show up. Now, I guess if I was a director, it would be really nice, since you're doing groups of 9, to be in multiples of 9. Okay, so anything added on, because remember 7 people are going on the crew, so any multiple of 9 bigger than 61 would probably be ideal, so you don't have a big group or small group. 61, 70, 79, so on, that would be ideal, but that's not always possible. Okay, the last question. Small dog gets 3/4 cup of food twice a day, using D for the number of days, F for the amount of food in cups. Write an equation. Again, equation. That's going to be an equal sign. Oh, my bad on that one. Sorry, the dog problem just got to me. So it says write an equation. 3/4 cup of food twice a day. Okay, so if your dog's getting 3/4 of a cup of food twice, how much food are they getting a day? What's 3/4 doubled? Okay, it'd be 6/4, or 1.5 cups. Okay, so my equation, how much food? It says days and food, that's what I'm going to use for variables. So amount of food, 1.5 cups per day times the number of days. Okay, so there's my equation. If it's 2 days, I get 3 cups of food. 10 days would be 15 cups of food, and so on. Lastly, 210 cups. How many days will it last? Okay, so I have 210 cups of food. How many days will it last? 1.5 times what would give me 210? So again, the opposite would be dividing by 1.5 cups of food. 15 into 210 would be 1. 15 into 60 would be 4. And placeholder. Label that. That would be 140 days is how long that large bag of dog food would be. All right, so that concludes our homework problems for lesson 3. Have a great day, guys.